I'm hoping that guy will come through with that design for the Phase D of the Trail River Walk.
Yep. We do have Tom as a backup, he's done.
He's got that flip thing, that's not what we want. It's that,
Well, I mean, just in case, it, you know,
that covers more
we'll do
property.
as a backup.
All right.
Oh, you okay?
They wanted the information.
It feels like, sounds like me getting out of bed.
This is like all well. No. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, young lady.
I have it.
Expecting
Yeah.
big friend?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much in support of what we're doing.
No, I just had some deciding.
You what?
We'll find out. The neighbors are here. The neighbors are here.
You think we're back in the same class for what?
Okay, my email give you any help?
I've had a couple people ask me. Is it illegal to shoot them if they're going through the
I
house?
haven't heard that.
Shoot all three.
Yeah, I keep telling him that he wants to use it. Yeah, and you can't.
She's on the phone to figure out what the hell's going on. Somebody got shot.
Did you see AX?
So.
And I'm on CAX.
I just saw it. And I'm pretty sure it was Northfield.
I'm on there, right?
Yes, you are.
Well, be careful, because I was listening to VPR yesterday and they were saying about Northfield and I was like, what?
And it was,
Minnesota.
this was Channel 3, right?
Loud as hell.
It's either gonna be Vermont or New Hampshire.
What was in here?
So I know what they did. That's why. So I think they're.
No.
Davis Avenue
I think.
in Northfield, Vermont.
He says bad health.
I know he's.
No one was struck.
Anyway.
No one was struck. Shot a gun recklessly in a threatening way.
And did they get the guy or the person?
Yeah, they know who it is. Read it to you. Northfield, Vermont, police were investigating a shooting incident in Northfield. It happened Sunday around 7 p.m. on Davis Avenue. Vermont police say Garrett Johnson, 32, of East Montpelier, shot a gun recklessly in a threatening way. No one was struck. Johnson faces a number of charges, including disorderly conduct, reckless endangerment, and providing false information to law enforcement. Copyright.
No.
You just sit there and write it down. I'll give you the coordinates.
I was literally just walking up the door and I heard that story.
You have to drive this, you have to, he would have to drive his car.
2:59. That's when it was posted today.
Oh,
So
I see.
I would have picked that up on my
Oh,
morning reading.
Doyon lives over. Don lives
Thank
over.
God no one got hurt.
That's what we're here for.
Oh, that's his son.
How are you, John? I haven't seen you in a
But
while.
then he
We're
doesn't like it either.
But the neighbor lives right next to him.
traveling.
Stevens.
Yeah, I thought you told me you were going to see somebody or something.
And then.
Yeah, Gloria was involved.
We just read it.
Yeah, so, somebody was at a party this Friday.
That's not just by. No, I understand it. No one did that.
It's a great car.
And they didn't know
Why isn't the chief Channel 3?
The,
Charlie just read it.
Yeah. You wanna read it?
Anyway, so.
But you said to speak, Stacy's handled it.
Stevens, yes. Wesley and Deborah Stevens.
Okay, so, no, but anyway, first I have to get the radar.
Yeah.
And so, I don't wanna buy it, but I will, so I have a house.
I don't get mad. Life's too short. I don't even do that. Yeah.
No, you had a little excitement in your neighborhood. Sunday, they had somebody shooting a gun.
Just,
I did not know that.
Nobody on this board did, but Dave just came in, he was wound up because we hadn't been told about it. Apparently there was a party and somebody shot a gun in the air.
Oh,
Is that you, Mary?
hell no. I don't even know what the business end of a gun is. I can shoot, I have shot a BB gun. Off my because you can hear when you hit them. It's a good reinforcement. They're gonna help to you brought this up, even when it's gonna have to fight
Fight to me.
No, it's not.
I just say, 233 years ago, we didn't have people making bad judgments.
I got it.
Now we do.
That's a session you can't
Hey, it worked all day.
Okay, so somebody was shooting them up in my neighborhood.
Davis Lane,
On Davis.
it's on WCX, came out at 3 o'clock this afternoon.
I'm there, Sheriff.
Well, we're just peaceable people, usually.
It's WCAX.
Northfield. Well, certainly, that's something they can say about Northfield, I'm telling you. They scout around just for something to say bad about us.
I was just coming out the living, I heard Northfield.
Sunday night, it's just coming out on Tuesday afternoon.
Well,
We shoot fireworks off in our parks, but we don't shoot guns.
oh, fireworks they do all the time down
Yeah.
We're going to discuss the
there. So,
ordinance down
In terms of, yeah. We call it.
criminal
here.
justice.
Lydia is
She
going
has.
to like, she
But she said she would go out and take a walk. And I was like, sure, I'd be delighted. If it works, if it doesn't work,
Yeah.
What?
I don't think we need it.
I know. And then,
I think it's fine the way they present it to us, except for they just missed the district and missed the name. That's all.
Ezra too, I lost him.
Okay, it being 6 o'clock and we have a forum of the select board, I am going to ask everyone to join us in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So, what's up next is a public hearing. Everyone will have an opportunity to speak on the subject tonight, which is revisions to the disorderly conduct ordinance that the select board is considering changing. All I ask is you come to the podium and state your first and last name so we can have it in the minutes. And then I would just ask to defer from coming back up a second time until everyone has had the opportunity to speak on the subject at least once. Okay, with that, who'd like to open up this bell?
Hi, I'm Bill Smith at 281 Central Street. I'm here with my wife Nanette tonight. And it seemed like it might be appropriate for me to raise my hand first because I'm sort of the instigator of this. And I talked to Selectman Morse and with Chris Bradley in town about maybe adding a noise ordinance for firearm usage in the more densely populated village area, basically from, this district here down through the falls. When you have lots that are small size, people in proximity to one another. And, over the years, I've lived in town for 19 years now. Every now and then you hear someone, target practice and you could hear it, but it's just, and so I don't want to be picking on one particular person, a group of people, or a property owner, but it's certainly within 200 yards of my house, there's a place where they're starting to shoot a lot, like a range with a bench out there, and backstop is off their property backstop is actually the railroad right-of-way berm. And just a little background on me quickly. Yeah, I'm a lawyer in town. I'm also a life member of the NRA and a lobbyist for the firearms manufacturers when they need work done in Montclair. So I'm not exactly an anti-gun guy, if you know what I mean. So, and Chris Bradley is the head of the Federation of Sportsmen's Clubs in Vermont, also a strong Second Amendment proponent in general. So, we got together with Mr. Morse, and there's some way we can recognize that sometimes you live too close to people to do certain things in town, and certain things cause noise. What are they? Well, in this instance, it's firearms going off. So that's what led to what's in front of you today. My wife and I, we both have, we have dogs, one of whom is absolutely bananas terrified of gunfire. She's an 85-pound mutt that will just run upstairs and be quivering under the bed. And that's hard on the family, hard on her. I'm not saying dogs are more important than people, but I am saying that that's a factor. That certainly, in your home life, you're right to peacefully enjoy your backyard on an afternoon, weekend, or any time is significantly impaired by this type of behavior that does fall within, I think, the nuisance type statutes we have, disturbing the peace. It's, at its simplest, really, that's what it is. It's disturbing peaceful enjoyment of the property of the neighbors. And in this day and age, do you just go and talk to your neighbor and tell them, hey, knock it off, it's not right to do here? I almost did that, and I was like, I'm not gonna. My time's up?
No.
Okay. Okay, so.
Unless Charlie got the time.
Well, I guess he might. Well, that's okay, it's time for you to go, Bill, that's fine. Thanks, Charles, appreciate that. So, other than, so I saw that Town Manager Schultz had sent us up to McNeil Leddy and got Mick Leddy's opinion for you folks, saying that this is permissible, that they drafted up something they thought would work well, and I just have kind of more of a clerical correction to it, and if I could, I'd like to speak to the specific section that's proposed here, which is the express prohibition, Division 1, paragraph B, subparagraph 2, subparagraph C, which we'd like to say go from, don't worry, I just do this as a trick so I can regain my thought process.
I like that.
Okay, so what Letty proposed, if it's on, so it says here, underlined in your document, it says outdoor recreational, this is what's prohibited specifically. Outdoor recreational discharge of a firearm in the high and medium density industrial and downtown centers as identified in current zoning ordinances. When I compared this to our 2024 zoning revisions, I noticed that we have downtown center is actually called a village center. And then I think it's appropriate, given the location and the size of lots, that the mixed use zone, which is on the east side of North Main Street down past Beans, should also be included in that, because that makes the consistent area that you're regulating here. What it doesn't regulate is shooting and hunting out on the 90+% of the town that's out in the low density residential areas, or in the institution areas, which is basically Norwich properties and the large school property up on Garvey Hill. So that would continue to be allowed. Certainly, we don't want to impede people's right to go hunting on their property or shoot on your properties where you have a lot of acreage, but at some point, you're gonna say, there's other options out there that are both more pleasant for your neighborhood and safer. And I can give to Ken or to the town manager the contact information for the Berry Fishing Game Club and the Williamstown Fishing Game Club, which you can join and shoot at the range any day of the week for $40 a year. And I've got their contact information that I'll share with them later today, if you decide to limit this type of behavior in these areas. If you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them. If not, I'll sit down and listen.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Thanks, Bill.
thank you.
Who would like to be recognized next?
Just have to let you know. Chamberlain Darrell, 98 Jarvis Lane, Northfield. And we put up with it now, I've been down there 31 years. We never had it start before till now, and there's no need in it. And that's what causes the gun control. They wanna take everything away from us anyway. But if those guys are, if one of them has a felon down there, and you know that, you must know that, or in state statutes, they lose all firearms, all of them. Caleb was walking the dog up and down the track, that's where it takes her. They come out of the trailer over there, drinking and carrying a revolver. Just like that. And he said, the hell with you guys, turn around, went back, come back up Central Street, because you don't trust them. They shoot towards the railroad track, the car shooting towards Todd's place, off the corner, off this side of the trailer, that single wide. Then off the other side, towards Eastmansville place, again, well, towards foot of the hill, just letting them go. They shot down towards Covey's in the corner next to South Side, 50-gallon drum. They shoot high-power rifles at the railroad track, which Canadian National ain't gonna put up with that, they find out about it. There's no need in it, in the first place. One bullet ricochet, like I said before, one of them ricocheted and got to our house or anything, you guys better hang on to your shirts, because I ain't gonna back off. And I'm not just here for gun control either. North University helicopters are flying too low. Puts John Knox right back into Vietnam. That's no, he can't take it. We had to call the aeronautical board for him. Randy Borden was alive, he used to keep it quiet. But now he's dead and gone. But that's one reason it's all gotta stop. One bullet ricochets, you know, if you don't know anything about firearms, they ricochet. And they shoot the beavers down the back, Fish and Game catches them doing that, they're gonna lose anyway. But Fish and Game will tell you, just like Northfield P, Billy's telling me that they always got a loophole. They have a loophole, state of Vermont has a loophole, but the people are gonna take over and do what they're supposed to do, you know? And you have to follow all the state statutes, but it looks, you're not following them. She said, we don't have to, just go down and ask them, or take the number plate, find where they come from Texas, and see if they got anything on them down here. Well, Harvey Jr. got it from Harvey, his father, lives in northern New York. He's an Eastman, he's adopted, but Harvey adopted it and gave him his name. But he's military, was military for 22 years. And he's been bringing some of that ammo in from the military. Well, a steel jacket usually. And yeah, that stuff will go through almost anything. So I'd like to have it straightened out before somebody gets hurt. We had little kids come down off of Central Street on the little bikes and stuff. They don't do that no more, because it scares the hell out of them. It needs to be done. And I don't mean fine them, lay it right to them. You got to, or put cameras up down there and you'll know. See if Woodward should put one on the pole without them picking it. You can't put it right to it, because that's against the law. You can't sit there and video them. It's just like a deer hunting camera. I put one of those out there, my camera's out there, I get caught, I'll get nailed for that stupidness. From Fish and Game, I'll tell you that. But we just need it done before somebody really gets hurt. I remember, because when they shoot towards that, shooting the beavers and that dam back down where they're all plugged up, you know where that is.
Yeah.
Troy Torriani and Kim Sears, some bullet will ricochet off water. I've seen it. And the only time I take my stuff out is hunting season, or once a month I take them out, clean them, and put them back in the gun safe. But that's it. We need to have somebody take care of it, that's all.
Thank you, Ray.
Can you guys handle that?
Thank you.
We're gonna try.
They'll get me sworn into the cause, I'm sure. They wouldn't like me, I'm telling you.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry, I'll get you next, how's that?
That's okay.
I'm John Lepore. I live on Water Street. I've been there for 22, 23 years.
Sorry, what's your last name?
Lepore. I've been there 22, 23 years. Like the first gentleman, I'm a life member of the NRA. I was a hunter safety instructor for over 20 years down in Connecticut. And like him, I know my firearms. There's three things that cause accidents with guns, and it's the first three things on the list of firearm safety is treating every gun as if it's loaded. I'm sure they know it's loaded. You know your target and what's beyond, and geez, I'm a little nervous. And and keep your gun in a safe direction, sorry. Not used to
Point it
public
at
speaking.
anybody. Right, point it downrange.
But anyways, I'm not against guns. I have them myself. He probably has them himself. And I was really surprised to find out that there wasn't already an ordinance that you couldn't shoot. You know, it's kind of asinine that we're even having this discussion. It should have been a done deal eons ago. 22 can travel what, 1,100 feet per second? Your average deer rifle is going probably a half a mile a second. And when you're shooting into a backstop that isn't really made for a backstop, are you really stopping that bullet? And just because we don't know that there wasn't already an errant bullet, doesn't mean that it hasn't already occurred. That thing might have skipped, it might be in somebody's house, might be in their tree, might be in their shed. We don't have a clue. The noise, I'm probably 1,500 feet from where this is, and it's like, it's echoing off, it's coming right at us. I've called the police. And they said, oh, they're shooting in a backstop, we've talked to them before. You know, I'm a member of the Williamstown Fish and Game and Berry Fish and Game. You got some pretty serious backstops for there. They're there for a purpose. And they have these rules that if you see somebody drinking alcohol or on drugs, that you gotta report them. Well, if it's on private property, you probably have no business doing it, and if they call the police, they get a scanner and they're gonna hide it away anyways. It's no place to have firearms in the village. This is not somebody sighting in their deer rifle, taking 3 shots and oh, yep, still on the paper, good enough. I've counted volleys of 30. This is high-powered stuff. My mom's over at Mayo. I go to visit her one Saturday a while back, and she goes, what the hell is that? Sounds like a war zone. It does. And it's all day long. You cannot go outside, and I feel bad for these guys who are right next door. I mean, I'm a quarter mile away, and I'm like, this is nuts. I have no idea what they're shooting into, but I'm hearing it's not right.
Very annoying.
Yeah, well, it's not only annoying, but it doesn't sound like an adequate backstop. And I don't know what they're shooting either. You go to any range, it's paper targets only. Because of the ricochet thing. I don't know.
Shoot the metal ones because you can hear them.
Yeah, and you shoot that, you know, you're gonna have a ricochet on there, and you can't say, well, it's okay if you just shoot paper, because, again, they'll just do hocus pocus if the police show up. So I'm all in favor of no firearm shooting within village limits, or even within a small radius around it. You know, it's a public safety thing. Before somebody gets hurt or killed, you know, it's the right thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're up.
Very nervous.
No, he's the only one that bites.
My name is Diana Truman, and I live on Jarvis Lane, and I'm about 300 feet maybe from where this occurs.
Oh, dear.
And it occurs often, not just on weekends. I'm recently retired, and I'm home all day, every day. Right, Todd?
Yep.
Always home, never leave my house. And it sometimes is hundreds of rounds going off, not just 20 or 30, it's hundreds of rounds going off at random times of the day. And then it ends, and then 2 hours later, I hear it again. And it does sound like it's like we're in, a combat zone. Not that I've been in one, but I can just imagine. And I raised my granddaughter, she lives with me, she's a teenager. Our neighbors have a 7-year-old, and they like to play basketball. We have a basketball hoop out on our street, and the kids like to go out and stuff, and it's scary. Literally 300 feet from us, this is happening often. It's been quiet the last 4 or 5 days. Don't know why, but there's different size rifles. I'm not familiar with like the sizes of the weapons, but it's, you can tell by the bullet, the sound, it's different. They have different ones. And it's just, there's two things to consider. It's safety and peaceful enjoyment of the people that live there. And I'm concerned with both at this point. I thought it was already an ordinance. I grew up in Northfield Falls and then got married and moved to Berlin. And I just thought I moved here about 8 years ago and back to town. And I just thought it was always an ordinance. I thought it was like common sense. And then I later found out, there was no ordinance about, against it. And we're gun people. My husband, comes from a line of hunters. My dad was a hunter. My mom was a hunter. We have guns. We've never once fired them off on Jarvis Lane, not once, thank God. We haven't had to. But, we have them. We own them. We're not against guns. We're against it being discharged in town unless it's a life and safety issue or like Bill had in the ordinance about like a rabid animal or something like that. But it's just peaceful enjoyment and safety. It's very dangerous. I feel for people on Water Street and Mayo. It does concern me because they're firing right towards, that area. So I just hope that you will pass it or consider it. And it comes down to life and safety and our peaceful enjoyment as taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana.
Thank you.
Who's next? No takers?
The last time they shot was 170 rounds, so you take a semi-automatic 40 caliber, 45 caliber, you just go, that jumps. They do it constantly. And one night, just before dark, they set off fireworks. Of course, and then they shot a 30-06 off, you can tell the difference. And I'm going deaf, and that's one of the reasons I'm up here too, is because it screws up my hearing. But they said that they're gonna have, like, Harvey come down out of northern New York, he'll bring one of those assault shotguns, with a cylinder in it like that, and that's 24 rounds. 24 rounds, you just take it full. And that's toward the railroad track, a lot of it. And that railroad track is 170 feet, 75 each way. They're in on that. When the center of that track in, it's 75 feet this way, 75 feet the other way. They shouldn't be doing it. But I don't know why you guys haven't picked it up before.
Dave, can you hear it at your house?
Oh, I didn't, and when it was brought to our attention, that was the first thing I said on a Sunday afternoon. I'm sitting on the deck and it sounds like a war zone.
Come down and
No, I can appreciate
where
what,
we live.
I've actually
I
been
mean, I'm
down
mowing
there.
my lawn and all of a sudden, bang, 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 bang,
Oh, yeah.
scares crap out of me. I mean, it goes on and on and on. I mean, I got a grandson, I got a dog, and something happens,
Yeah,
it's not gonna be good.
so that's why we're trying to address it.
Well, this should have been done a long, long time ago. There shouldn't be any shooting in the village or the town.
Yeah,
Todd, Northfield's been around for 233 years.
So I haven't been around that long.
And I thought you and I went to different high schools together. But in those 233 years, people haven't expressed poor judgment.
Yeah,
Right.
And
Till now.
I'm borrowing this term from Bill Smith, by the way.
Yeah.
This is a poor judgment call. This isn't the fact that Northfield hasn't
I
done
mean, I
anything.
got nothing against guns, hunting, nothing.
Well, there we go.
It's just, it's getting very annoying, day in, day out,
And
listen to this.
We're here, and I appreciate Daryl, John, Diane, and Bill coming here.
Yeah.
I brought this to the select board's attention based on a conversation I had with Bill. It makes sense. We're not approaching it as restricting hunting. We're not approaching it as restricting gun ownership. We're approaching it as you're making too much noise, and we're gonna stop it.
That's in the safety aspect.
Right.
Yeah,
Roughly where they're
it's two
firing.
things, the safety too does concern me.
There's a way to have a range.
Yeah.
And there's a way to shut a range down. Well, this way is, hopefully will work. To quit making noise. If that doesn't work, we have other tools to use.
But fining them, putting a fine on them is nothing. They'll pay it. That state ordinance, there's so many, anyways, it only runs about, Foster's is 80%. That's from a 22 caliber. Anything higher than that, make you stone deaf.
Gotcha. Well, if this was the quickest approach we
They
could
don't
take.
play, if that's the route we have to go, if we have to go that way, we'll have to go that way,
We can always escalate it, but hopefully the message will be sent that we don't need to escalate it and knock it
Because
off.
the aeronautical board on a helicopter said, if it happens anymore, call us. We'll take care of Norwich University. They're flying too low, way too low. And does screw up the veterans.
Todd, does the shooting occur within the railroad right of way?
Yep.
So that's private property and it's posted.
Yeah, didn't you get a hold of them, Bill?
Also, it's Washington, when you come down Washington Street
Yeah.
onto Jarvis, so Jarvis goes right and left,
Yeah.
Washington goes all the way down. I don't know how far down, but I know the town plows all the way down.
Yeah.
I think that's right away.
And they're standing on the middle of that
They're
road,
on the blacktop.
on the blacktop.
Really? From there?
Standing in our right of way. Shooting
Because
hundreds of
I went
rounds at
down
a
there to
time.
try to understand where and what they're doing, and that's why I asked you that question.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty close to my house. I mean, they're right out in the backyard, really. I mean,
Well, this is great that you guys came out.
we used to have a nice quiet street, not no more.
Right.
It's gone.
We're gonna try.
We were just talking about that a while ago, before these guys moved in, and how nice it was down there, and because we've had problems down there in the past, not with this, with something else. And now, you don't wanna go outside, cause they're gonna start firing away again.
I'm sorry, what's her name?
Todd Goodrich.
So,
We had trouble with dirt bikes down there too. The chief was looking for one dirt bike. But you come down, took the baffles out of the mufflers, come down, they're screaming. And I'm now, so I told him, I said, you get the hell out of here and don't come down again. I said, you think I'm fooling? Come back. I ain't gonna play no games with them.
There's somebody in the back.
yeah,
room.
Carl.
Carl Underhill, can't know who I am. So everyone said exactly what my wife and I both feel. We live down on Water Street. And I agree 100%. It is super unsafe. I can tell you one thing that I have definitely noticed is, we're outside all the time in our home and these guns are going off. And I know my guns well. I'm hearing anything from 22s to 9s. I'm hearing high caliber rifles. I mean, I could have swore to God the other day I heard a Barrett go off, but I won't say that. I mean, it's really high powered stuff. But one of the things I have certainly noticed is the traffic in the park has dramatically decreased due to all this gunfire. People do not feel safe in the park down there. Bringing their kids down, playing, going to the swimming hole. There's tons of people that swim on the backside of that park that don't dare to go down there, and I don't blame them. They're afraid to get shot. I got shot in the leg once. It's not any fun. I don't blame them. But the noise is really bad, and it does, make you, every time you hear a shot. But, I think not only for the citizens surrounding the area and for quite a distance, as we talked about how far a bullet can go, even if it's ricocheting. But just the simple fact of noise, safety, and, you know, people unknowingly in a park and then all of a sudden something happens. It's, in the nursing home, boo, so. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Darrell.
So is there anyone else that'd like to be recognized or speak again? So this is on our agenda tonight under Select Board. So when we close the public hearing later in our regular meeting, we will take this up. And I know the manager has some information that Bill alluded to. And then we'll have a discussion and then, so once the procedure is, if we make any changes to the ordinance tonight and adopt it, what's the procedure then?
Yeah, if it becomes an official ordinance or it's adopted by the board, then there is, I think, a 30-day appeals period. And once that runs, then it becomes an official ordinance.
Okay.
They had an ordinance 20 years ago on loud music.
On what?
Noise fire, yeah, I think it's, we still do,
We have
actually.
a lot of noise
You take
complaints,
that
barking
rap
dogs.
music, I'm telling you right now,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think we actually.
Y'all have the old ordinance that shows the changes that we're making? Ken, do you have copies? So when we end the hearing, you can take the ordinance. What I did was took the old ordinance, got it as electronic version, came up with some language, sent it to a couple of people, but it tracks the changes. So it shows you that in your case, loud music, this is a noise ordinance. It's a disorderly conduct ordinance, and it has a noise component to it. So I think you'll see that, I think it's inclusive. And some people just don't make good judgments, and then we have to use a bigger hammer.
And unfortunately, the world we're living in has changed drastically over the past 20, 30, 40 years. So with drugs and alcohol are, you know, a huge epidemic in Vermont and the whole country, that it's not unlikely that firearms come into play with drugs and alcohol. And
It's a
it's
bad
not gonna
mixture.
get any better, unfortunately. So to pass the ordinance now saves, hopefully, maybe possibly, you know, even more trouble and pain and suffering for people in the future, because it's not gonna get any better.
Yes, sir.
I agree with that, and I'm looking at the offenses, and, you know, if you're blasting your stereo, $150 to $500 is one thing, but talking firearms here, it's a whole different ball of wax. And I think it should be a different category of fine for that, and the first fine should be maybe $500. The second one, make it $2,500, make it sting. You know, this guy can afford to buy ammo, $1 or $2 a shot. He's not gonna sneeze at this. So,
We're restricted to the amount that we can, by state law. We have a $500 limit that we can assess as a penalty for these unless we do a charter change. A charter change would allow us to do what you're talking about, and that may be one of the hammers that we have to bring out.
okay, I was unaware of that, thank you.
Yes, Bill?
The point of information on that is that that would go through the legislature, so we probably have our elected representatives with the, at the request of the select board, go there in January and do that if it's something that's deemed appropriate. I did have one final question for the board, I guess if everyone's had a chance to speak, is that some folks have mentioned the fireworks, and it's actually coming off the same property, but it's not the only place. Now, I don't see that mentioned anywhere in our noise ordinance, other than for the parties and social event, unlawful to have produced noise in a loud and offensive manner such that the noise interferes with the peace or health of members of the public, or is audible through the walls between units on another property. So that certainly would be fireworks or gunfire, but obviously I don't want folks thinking, oh, instead of, I'll get back at the town and my neighbors, and instead of shooting firearms, I'm gonna just blow off some fireworks and have our PD go, oh, it's not covered.
I think that's covered in state law.
I think it is too, but I thought this
Yeah, they
was
need
as
a local
well.
Yeah, I
permit
thought it
too,
was 500
which they
feet.
have at the beginning.
I thought you had to be
No, I thought
rather
so.
than 500 feet away from a
Residence.
occupied residence in the state of Vermont.
And you have to have a permit here in town to let them off.
Yeah, so that's covered, so let's enforce it.
That's the big thing.
Carl's got it.
Yes, Carl?
So, I'm just curious, because you know that the naysayers of what we're all talking about here today will say, well, what about the Norwich Cannons when they go off every Sunday or Saturday for football? What are you gonna do about that? It bugs me. I mean, how do you address things like that?
I think that's covered in the disorderly conduct noise ordinance under ceremonial.
Okay, thank you.
Usually you get a warning for that too, I mean, they usually.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't bug me. I like to hear them here, and the more
Well, that's-
games I hear, the better they're doing, so.
That's also safe and controlled, you know,
Right,
not
It's
just
all,
some
there's
random
not real ammo.
guy just.
Right, they're not shooting real cannons.
Two
No.
hundred, just around.
But we're talking about noise.
There's exception for events that are permitted by the municipality. I think that's permitted.
Thank you. Should have written the paper.
Oh, that's a good point, Carl. Yes, sir.
Elroy Hill. I agree with everything that they're talking about, but I think we should put a limit on engine brakes on trucks going through town.
Put a limit on what?
Gate brakes, engine
Gate
brakes.
brakes, engine brakes.
Jake breaks.
That is part of the discussion that someone brought up as part of this, and we can revisit that also. I don't know if it's appropriate to put Jake brakes, but that requires signage, so because a trucker going through, that's a different step in the process. We want to get this started now and get through this process and get it to end. Then we will take, Jake brakes will be next. And
I'd be willing to pay for the sign.
yes, and we probably put it up, Elroy, but we don't need that. We need to follow the bureaucracy because we excel at bureaucracy in this town. So we will get to it.
Thank you.
And you feel that's a major problem too? the
Oh,
Jake
yes.
break?
He's not alone, Dave.
5 o'clock in the morning, a logging truck was by my house, with the Jake brake on, and I can hear it all the way down past Fall Store.
So that's what wakes me up every morning.
Don't be surprised.
All right, any other comments from the public? Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing and thank you.
Thanks, guys, ladies and gentlemen.
We're going to take a break here until 7 o'clock and we'll start our regular meeting at 7 o'clock. So I close the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.
Trying to answer to you.
Where's the Charles?
So does that make sense? to you?
Yeah.
Just make sure
Yeah, I
you
got
get
it
the
highlighted.
districts. Yeah, that's all.
Right. We'll do that. That's not considered material to the discussion.
No, that's just clear.
Yeah, so it's fine.
All right, I'll.
I appreciate those clerical things though.
Yeah, I know, you gotta, when you start reading them, you go, oh, we gotta do
You
that.
gotta do that every little nitty bitty thing.
I shouldn't write ordinance when I got a glass of wine in my hand.
That they're shooting.
No, you should not. That seems like a really good idea. That's better than shooting apparently. So what happened to those forest people? They never called.
Oh, there you go.
The train.
Don't know, Jeff did this. I don't think that they understand, a lot of people don't understand, right, the way of the train. You know,
Oh, jeez.
Well, my point was this, Charlie, it's posted private property, and if they're flying within that. It being 7 o'clock, we'll reconvene the regular meeting of the select board now. All present and accounted for. We concluded our public hearing regarding our proposed revisions of the disorderly conduct ordinance. at 6:35. That will be taken, that subject will be taken up later in the meeting. Next item on the agenda, is there any need to adjust the agenda this evening?
No, there is no need to adjust the agenda.
We have no public participation scheduled, so look for approval of minutes.
Move approval of August 27 minutes.
Second.
Moved, seconded, comments, questions, Charlie?
I'm good.
Mary?
I have one. On page 4, the C section, improved election publicization.
Yeah.
I believe you should add something about, I think you should add something about the council was gonna ask the city manager, we did ask the city manager to request help from Transvideo. Remember that?
The recommendation was that you contact Trans Video to
Help the banner.
facilitate putting
Oh,
up
okay.
banners.
Yeah, so we did reach out, yeah, okay, we did reach out to TDS to first find it, yeah, okay.
Well, I thought it was our banner
Well, in the past, TDS,
has been putting it up.
yeah, and they stored it for us, so they're trying to locate it.
Oof, mia. Okay, so this
Well,
remains an issue.
Yeah,
Thank you. That's all I have.
John?
I'm fine, thank you.
Lydia, good, and I'm good. Further discussion on said minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes of August 27, 2024, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? 500. Approval of bills.
Move approval of warrant 05-25 and 05-25A through E for a total of $1,904,529.27.
Second.
Moved and seconded, comments, questions, Charlie?
$1,507,000 of that goes to the school, $330,000 of that goes to purchase power. And I have a question about what is a sketching software?
what page?
I think it's page 3, it was Apex. Or did I read that wrong?
Yeah, that's a software that the listers department uses,
So it's, okay.
when they're,
I
putting
didn't know
together.
if it was something like SketchUp for doing
No, it's part of.
graphic
Gamma
arts.
and part of
Thank you,
their-
that's all I got, Dave.
All right, Mary?
Nothing.
John?
I don't have anything either, thank you.
Lydia?
I'm good too.
So, I hate to be a stickler on details, but, actually, the school amount is $1,392,000.
Right.
And, $100.
Thank you, Dave. I stand corrected.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving said warrants in the amount of $1,904,529.27, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? 500.
Move to receive biweekly payroll through September 1st for a total of $113,185.08.
Second.
Any comments or questions from the select board?
I have one.
Yes, ma'am.
On the year-to-date police overtime, it says what it says, 75.88 This just reminds me that the chief spoke to me saying that Bruce Barofio and Scott Kerner, two entrepreneurs in our town, have provided the funding for an EOC. Did you know that?
No, I thought it was coming from the Rotary.
I thought so too, but he told me to try to tell the Rotary that they didn't need to do it. I'm not able to get in contact with Mel Adams for some reason.
Oh, I can get in touch with them.
Okay, so at any rate, he doesn't have to do anything because Bruce and Scott took care of it. And the reason I bring it up in this context is because the EOC was going to be doubling as a place for new recruits to the police station to bunk until they could find housing in our very difficult housing market. And so, and then those new recruits would help us with the overtime problem we have. So that's why I brought it up.
Very good. Well, that's good information.
Thank you, Bruce, thank you, Scott.
Yeah.
John?
I don't have anything, thank you.
Lydia?
I'm
all
good.
set? I'm good. Further discussion on bi-weekly payroll? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining, 500. Under Select Board, disorderly conduct ordinance revisions, Mr. Manager.
Okay, yeah, so obviously you had the required public hearing, took in comment. I did, as was discussed, did send a draft ordinance to Attorney McLetty, municipal attorney, and he did provide comments on the ordinance. As you can see, he did say that the ordinance as prepared doesn't present any legal issues, it's permissible, it can be adopted. He did, as you can see on the second page of his memo, did identify a number of concerns that he felt that should be discussed and possibly incorporated. So you can see one, he did say there was a question about kind of what would define noise here. I guess in the extreme, he talked about, say, kind of weird, but he said, if you brought up, if there's somebody's using a silencer or suppressor or a gun that was a lower level type noise, and just also the idea of regulating noise in general. Two, he did say that firearm and animal control are not defined, felt that there should be discussion of that and some incorporation under that. And then the third comment, question about discharge for the stated purpose of self-defense and animal control, kind of concern about how that might be interpreted or how that might play out in enforcement. But again, to sum up, Attorney Letty did say that as drafted, he doesn't see that it would be illegal and that it would be allowed under the state, Vermont state statutes.
Discussion?
I think there's a couple of administrative errors that Bill Smith brought up on item C. He brought it up during the hearing. It's Article 3, Division 1, subparagraph B, subparagraph C. Outdoor recreation discharge of firearm in the high-density residential, medium-density residential, industrial, mixed use should be added. And in our zoning regulations, I wrote down downtown district, and it should be village district or village center. And those two admin changes I'd like to see on the ordinance. And I just,
Charlie, can you repeat exactly where again for me?
Article 2, disorderly conduct. Division 1, noise control ordinance. And then you go down to C where it begins with outdoor recreational discharge, which is the amendment, is the new writing. I left out mixed use, or Ken did. One of us left out mixed use.
It wasn't in your strong.
So I left it out. And I wrote down downtown center instead of village center. So I'd like to include those. I don't think that's a material change to the ordinance.
And Charlie, by village center, you mean the village center districts, which includes not just this village, but the Falls Village?
The downtown center was what I was after.
Because village center district includes both designated villages, which is
I think it should say
here and the
district.
Falls. So I'm just clarifying that that's your intention.
The original intention did not go so far as the falls with my writing, but I'm certainly, any amendment, I think, any
Well, if you say
inclusion.
village center, if you're going by the districts, which I think is what you're saying, and what you
Right.
should do so that there's clarity, it should be exactly the same as the zoning districts.
Right.
So, in which case, village center districts are blue, and there's 2 of them. So if you're gonna separate them out, you'd have to say only the
Downtown
village
district.
center district located, you know, and name some roads or whatever.
Well, with downtown district,
That's not an official district,
all right,
so.
That's what my major concern was, is have we identified within the ordinance what the districts will be? And then there was comment about eastern zone past Beans, and I think Chris brought up something, his concern about that.
well, the concern there is from, I think Chris, I'm not speaking for Chris, but the idea was that there is areas that you could hunt in there. Well, that's lawful activity. So it's, you know, some people could say hunting is recreational. Well, there's some people on my Meals on Wheels route where it's a way of eating. So I don't consider hunting recreational as much as it is getting food for the winter. But other interpretations, that's what hunting was originally in Vermont, and I think that argument stands. As far as the village centers, I don't know how to, if we need to separate that out. We haven't certainly, I did not include that village center, not recognizing that we had 2 village centers.
I think it has to be clarified, I would think.
We can include it. How big is the village center?
There's 2 of them, village center districts.
I
One
know.
is in Northfield Falls and one is in,
I hate to open up my phone because I gotta go on take it off airplane mode and watch what happens. I'll start getting pinged. Let me see if I can
just
bring it up.
click it on the side
Do you want
and
me
turn
to?
off the turn off the bell.
Lydia can probably send it to you.
Yeah, you'll still need your airplane mode off, but.
All right, my airplane mode is off.
While we're doing this, Mary, do you have any questions?
No, I-
additions?
No, I do not, and of course, it's gonna be a matter of something later down the line, if we ever have a fine. I'm mindful that it should be $500
The
and
fines are in,
not 150, but the spread is fine.
And we are, from what I've heard tonight, we are limited in our fines.
Yes, we're limited, so, but, you know, when a case like that comes in front of us, apparently the ammo is so expensive that we probably should be thinking about that when we leverage the fine, when we impose the fine.
Well, it says 150 to 500.
Yes, I know, I thought it was good, but I just hope we,
No, but there was
Go on.
call for us to have it higher. We
Yes.
can't have it higher.
So you're familiar with this is the district, right? So I don't see why we couldn't include that.
yeah. Goes all the way down to Mill Street and a little past to the
Right,
river
it's from the river to,
and on
from the
Davis
river up
Avenue.
to Gould Road. It's just where all the houses are, essentially, and it leaves Davis
It's
Avenue
nothing on there and it's
and
not. in-
Dickinson even Avenue.
no, but the
That's where
industrial
100
one is.
Right.
So where it says industrial, that's the one that Chris was talking about.
Yeah,
So
so
it's a deer yard, I would assume.
I'm good with that. What else do we have for discussion on this?
But
Well, good
if
with
you're
what?
gonna specify the location, have it written down, so you don't have any confusion when if you do
Right,
that.
so that's called village center,
Yeah, those are the
Village
village
center
center districts,
village center district. So rather than,
downtown center. It would
right,
be
it'll
village
say
center
village
district.
center district.
It would say high residential, high density residential, medium density residential, industrial, mixed use, and village center districts.
Right.
Right.
But we have to have maybe further discussion about the industrial.
Well, the concern was about hunting, I think. In the industrial area has, we're talking Bean Park, right? There may be some, good hunting in there. So, hunting is legal. So, and hunting doesn't, create a noise problem, which we're experiencing down on Jarvis Lane.
So your contention is, sir, that it's exempted by number 7. Unlawful discharge of firearms for the purpose of, well, there it says animal control.
Animal control, I would take more on the line that you have a
Yeah.
rabid
Yeah, I know what
raccoon that
that-
is
yeah.
chasing you.
Well, what
So-
about hunting? How can we say that so that hunting
Do
is
not
clear?
include the industrial zone. Would be
A solution?
Except we probably want, I mean, we've talked about, I think it's already technically maybe rezoned, but the Freight Yard Way is currently industrial. But we've talked about, it's actually was added to the village center, so the map isn't actually up to date. And then there's also these other small sections of industrial that are like right in the downtown area. That I don't think, that's
like
not where
where
people are
Dollar
hunting.
General is.
Or Dollar General, yeah.
And, where's that section? It's Gray
That's-
Building?
Almost have to find the King Street, is that,
Oh, that's down Bean
oh yeah,
Bean Chevrolet.
Yeah.
That's part of the larger industrial.
but that part on that side of the road is probably not.
Gun safety zones for hunting, are you, is there a restriction on, how close you can be to a house to, shoot at a game animal?
Not currently, no, not in Vermont, they've been talking about it. Is it possible on number 7, just to add animal control for hunting? I mean, because
I think the issue we'll have is with enforcement, is if we try to enforce, somebody could very easily just say, I was hunting.
not repetitively firing.
But I know we wouldn't necessarily believe them, but I mean, I don't know for sure, but
Yeah.
if you can't prove definitively that they weren't hunting, and they're saying they were hunting, and it says it's legal to hunt, then it's gonna be very difficult for us to enforce. I think we would have issues with enforcement. I'm concerned about issues with enforcement with this anyways, but
Well, let's think that through. So hunting, there's many seasons of hunting, but rifle season occurs 2 weeks a year.
I think the same issue if we don't define animal control too. Oh, there was a rabid raccoon. I know, like, pow, 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 like it wasn't a rabid raccoon, but somebody can still say that.
Well,
And
then there's
unless
a carcass.
you don't, I missed.
With all 27 shots.
Yeah.
Right.
I missed repeatedly.
Well, these are the things that will come up, and nothing's perfect. Everything, this is a live document, it's evolving. Obviously, we had nothing to begin with.
Yeah. I think we should define animal control if we're going forward with this, as recommended by the attorney. To give us a little
And
bit
what was his
more.
language?
He didn't suggest any, he just said that
That's the problem.
he recommended it. Well, yeah, it will cost us a little money
Yeah.
if we would like to have assistance drafting language defining animal control. And we can just use statutory language to define firearm. We don't have to make up a definition for that because it already exists, but we should refer to the statutory definition in here as well. But
Charlie?
So then it would read outdoor recreation discharge of a firearm as described in Vermont state statutes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that fits that. And then What was the other one?
We need a definition of animal control.
And while Charlie's thinking on that, John, do you have any specifics that you'd like added, subtracted, or comments?
No, I'm fine with it as it is.
Lydia, obviously you've brought two areas up that are
Yeah.
concerning.
I just don't like the feeling that we're making it about noise when from what I've heard, the concern is more about public safety than noise, and maybe I haven't heard. I'm very sorry that I missed the hearing to hear specific concerns. And I think, like, for instance, if we cared a lot about noise, wouldn't we care a lot about the cannons going off all the time? I know they're probably exempt under item 4, I'm
They
guessing.
are, we had that discussion this evening.
But it's like, if that sounds fine, there's a lot of sound and noise living in the village. So I just don't entirely believe that the issue is noise. I believe that there's a legitimate concern about safety. And if that was the case, I'd prefer to address it with a firearm discharge ordinance, like other towns have. And I think it would, I don't know, I think we might have enforcement issues either way, but I'm concerned about the ability to enforce this ordinance as well.
What you missed at the meeting tonight was a universal opinion from everybody that was here,
Yes.
that they're questioning why we haven't done anything previously, and why is this so long? So I think to get something on the books now, responding to, was there a dozen people in here?
Yeah.
Or more?
That's
People's
reasonable.
concerns, saying that they are living in a war zone.
Combat zone.
Combat zone, to put something on there that perhaps will make a difference.
Yep.
For the interim, I think that would be good to start with, and I think animal control could be as simple as limited to diseased animal presenting a threat. We all know what a rabid animal looks like.
I think any animal doesn't have to be diseased. Any animal presenting a threat.
Well, a 100-pound black lab with blue eyes, some people absolutely freak out over. And I would too, because he's gonna lick you to death. But that's Lincoln. And so I don't think we wanna justify a wild wolf hybrid that broke his leash and that he should be shot. That's not where we're going with this. We're trying to localize it to where there is a threat of rabies would be the one that I focus on too, but you've got animals that are diseased that are going to present a problem, and that's,
So what if you had a lawyer, I'm just being a devil's advocate here.
shoot,
So what if you are a lawyer and you go, oh, well, how did you know he was diseased, Mr. Morse?
well, we can go down this rabbit hole
They do.
all the way we
Believe me,
want
they
to.
do go
Point
through
being
those,
is,
down those
we've got
rabbit
a
holes.
community that has got too many gunshots being fired.
I
Now, if you
understand.
wanna go down and pretend to be a lawyer, you can pretend to be a lawyer. Let that come out in the wash. If someone says, how did you know, that's for the courts to decide. I'm not going to try and put language in there to cover every aspect it is. This is a simple way to try and give the people down there a relief. And the relief is through the noise ordinance. It doesn't restrict anything. Animal control is, you can refine that any way you want. But that's what you missed, is you've got a whole neighborhood that is, it's not even just that neighborhood. People from Water Street, who was it that said that that there's kids that aren't going to the park anymore because of the number of the Water Street Park?
Miss Truman and.
It was what?
Miss Truman and,
Carl, saying that there's parents that aren't, when there's gunshots down there, they're not even going down to the park because
Right.
of that.
Again, this is not because the noise is too loud and it's disturbing them, it's because they're afraid that they're going to get hurt.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I agree that we need to do something. I want us to create something that will be enforceable, that will have an impact.
We don't know if you're worried about the enforcement on this, try it. See what happens. If it doesn't work and we can't shut it down, we'll have to do something, we'll have to escalate it.
So I did write some notes down. Safety and peaceful enjoyment were two words that came up thematically throughout everyone's discussion. Our peaceful neighborhood is gone. So I asked the question, are they shooting within private property of the railroad? The answer was yes. So they're in violation of.
Yeah, I mean, if there's
Well-
other laws that are already being broken, then
Well,
that's the other avenue. that should
I'm
be-
hearing from law enforcement through the manager that they can't do anything. Well, if they're on private property and it's posted, they can do something.
It's my understanding the railroad is aware of this issue.
But it's not,
And we heard today that they're using the town right of way to stand and shoot. They're using the roads that we maintain as a place to
That
shoot.
should already be illegal to shoot on the town property?
Well, so the town road's not necessarily town property, they've got a right of way. They'd have to check the statutes to see if there's proof.
so this ordinance is proposed with the changes may not be the end-all cure of the problem, but I think it's a start. And we can certainly address, as this gets approved and implemented and enforced, what our weaknesses are and address them. But not doing anything is not a good thing either. And I don't see where we're overstepping too much with what's proposed.
Let's not let the good be the enemy of the perfect be the enemy of the good.
Yeah.
Let's just go ahead and do this, and then let's see if we need another ordinance. No, we slap another one together.
One of the discussions also that occurred tonight was, and I think it was John was his name, said, I'd like to see, a box of ammo costs $100. I don't know these, I think that's what he said. And he said, your fine starts off at 150 and
Yeah,
goes
that
all
was
the way up
Sean
to
before. Yeah.
It goes up to 500. I think you ought to put a 2,500 fee in there. Well, we can't, because we'd have to have a charter change to go beyond what ordinances are allowed for the state. So the possibility of this escalating and going somewhere else where we have a charter change where we can increase the penalties that we need to increase to try and affect, maybe do something on other types of motions, this could go on. I mean, this disorderly conduct ordinance has been around for 20 years and we haven't gotten in trouble for it.
Have we used it very often?
That would be the manager's look up, it's there.
What was the question?
Not,
I'm just wondering if
unfortunately, not on a
it's
regular
effective.
basis, but it's been used.
Well, I know when there was loud noises that's happening on Central Street, there was a lot of challenges, and I think I pointed out we had some major complaints happening on 12A with loud mufflers and loud motorcycles, and law enforcement told us we had to have sophisticated listening devices to prove our case in court, and I think the same thing was happening with the problems on Central Street with loud music.
Western Avenue was another one where disorderly conduct was used. The hockey houses, disorderly conduct has been used there.
So I think it has been. Effectively, I'd have to have it, we'd have to know what law enforcement says. Well, let's go back and address what was brought up tonight, and that what Chris Bradley brought up, and that is clearly trying to define, making sure we're not the eastern zones past Beans. So that's the hunting area, I think, that was brought to us tonight, Charlie. So is your verbiage going to exempt that area?
Hunting's a legal activity. And because we have industrial areas that are multiple zones, how would you pull that area out? Just say the industrial area to encompass Whetstone Drive? That, I mean, that
Well, you don't want this to have unintended consequences either. But like, I'm trying to be pragmatic, rifle season is 2 weeks.
Right.
A year. Help me there with hunting, what else?
I mean, you've got gunpowder, you've
Yeah.
got bow and arrow, you've got,
Well, bow and arrow doesn't make noise. Gunpowder,
black powder does.
black powder.
Right, and again, you know, if you have an ordinance that is disorderly conduct and it addresses in the description of what you're trying to prevent, which is just the unhealthy, the disruption of normal life. If somebody goes down to one of these districts that is included in the ordinance and they set up a rifle range, guess what? They're gonna get the attention of the town. And you've got Memorial Park down there.
So do you have the changes that have been proposed?
We do, yeah.
Further discussion on this?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the disorderly conduct ordinance as presented with the administrative changes that we've made.
Are the administrative changes just the ones on item C?
And the animal control limited to diseased animal presenting a threat.
So adding definition firearm and animal control.
Right, outdoor recreational discharge of a firearm as described in statute. And then include mixed use in village center districts. And animal control definition is limited, when it says animal control is allowed, say animal control limited to diseased animal presenting a threat.
You getting this down, Jeff?
You want this?
Yeah, be good if it's written down in one spot.
Yeah, I'll give it to you, Ken.
We'll have the tape as well.
Well, I heard a motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Further discussion?
I don't think this resolves the hunting question, but I would like to.
Do we have a solution for resolving that?
I don't know how to solve it, but I think that it would be best to have the map drawn more in a more refined way, so that the map excluded the areas where we think hunting should be allowed.
Well, that's a reasonable.
But I don't know that we can pull that off right here, right now.
Well, we can state what we want. Correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
But I'm not sure, I mean, Charlie's saying, Charlie thinks it's fine and that it will allow
Because
hunting
it's
the way that it
legal
is.
activity.
But it lists the lawful discharge of firearms for the purposes of self-defense or animal control.
Disease, animal presenting a threat.
Right, and it's not saying that it's legal in that area to hunt. And it's saying that you can't do, it's not clear, so an attorney would be able to say more than I could,
But it doesn't prevent hunting either, does it?
I would read it to prevent hunting is what I'm saying. In these areas, I would read it to prevent all discharge of a firearm in those districts listed, except for self-defense or animal control, is the way that it reads to me.
Hunting is animal control.
I would say that if an issue comes up, you have the authority to do an amendment to your ordinance.
We do.
And I think, personally, I think this is a good way to start, and then you can turn around and address another problem and make it an amendment too. And, because if you don't start someplace, you never get anywhere.
Right.
You know, you go out and get into your car, but don't turn on the key, you don't go anywhere.
It's just my preference that when we do these things, that we would go to our attorney before we get to the hearing and write the ordinance, draft the ordinance with that support. So that we have these questions answered prior to this stage.
I do believe they went to the attorney.
After the fact.
After the fact that we already had a draft and we
Okay.
had formed a hearing, so then we can't change
Right.
it dramatically, I don't think, without another hearing.
Or at least
Well, that's what I asked at the beginning of the hearing.
Is that not correct?
yeah, so I would think if you
I
made,
asked that question.
Yeah.
well, I guess with the way you asked it, I was assuming not many changes. So if there was just some minor changes, as you said, administrative, I think you could approve it with those minor, but when you start to get into some larger changes, I think it would be prudent to have at least another, have it on another board agenda after it's been revised.
And can you give me an example of major change?
Well, I think you're getting close to that when you start, adding in, or changing the map, or clarifying the map, plus adding those definitions, plus, I think there was one other change, so.
Well, you put an administrative thing that says as described in Vermont statute, that doesn't change,
No.
it's just administrative. Then you've got, you've corrected the administrative on the description of the zones, because I had village center, not
Right.
village center district. And then you throw in animal controls limited to diseased animal presenting a threat. That's just a definition,
Yeah,
so.
yes, it's a little bit the prayer. I think you could get away with those changes, approving it with those changes. And also too, there is the appeals period, so if somebody felt that it was done in error or didn't make sense, they could appeal. And if it's not appealed, then it becomes, effective, so.
Well, it becomes effective tonight, and then they have 30 days to appeal it. 45.
Yeah,
They've got a period of
But
time.
we can't start enforcing it until after that appeals period runs.
Yeah, it says on
Okay.
here, October 15th,
Right,
That was a suggested date.
that was, yeah.
So the so-called, when we can start putting it to
Right.
use.
So I would like to better understand that process then. So if we adopt this with the changes this evening, the enforcement will not occur for how long?
Is it 30 days?
45, you just said.
It can go into effect right away since the town has a charter. However, people have a right to bring in a petition of 5% of the voters within 45 days.
Okay, there you
And have
go.
this thing reconsidered at a special town meeting.
So it would, if you approved it tonight, it would take effect October 15th.
Well, that's
Well,
what
that's
Ken
suggested.
put in
Yeah.
as a suggested date.
Oh, okay.
So you can prepare for it, but it could be in effect immediately once you approve the ordinance, if that's what you prefer.
Well,
so we could say effective immediately?
Because the town has a charter. Before
Right.
merger, the town did not have a charter, At that time, you'd have to wait
right.
30 days.
John, will you accept a friendly amendment if I say effective immediately included in my motion?
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
It's my understanding, it doesn't become effective until that appeals period runs.
In that case, that will be immediate. Whatever state law says effective immediately, you'll check that
Again,
out.
it's not a great
Ken
length.
says because of the charter, we can do it right now. And if that is not the case, then the, whatever date is the immediate date, then that's the
Take
date
effect.
that takes effect.
Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the ordinance as edited, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Abstaining? 410.
All right, here's your language, Ken.
So we'll have all these changes written down on the form, correct? I mean, on the document?
That's what he just said. He's bringing
I'm
them.
bringing this over.
All the changes.
This is the total of
Next item on the agenda is the American Rescue Plan Act ARPA fund request.
All right.
At our last meeting, we instructed the manager to reach out to two organizations, or three, I forgot, follow-up. And that was the Gray Building Coalition, the American Legion, and the Senior Center. And I do believe in our packet, we received an update from the Gray Building Coalition, modifying their original request. Has everyone had an opportunity to look at it?
Well, the original request was,
Well, the original request was 500,000.
Or 250.
Well, according to the list, it was 500.
I've got, on the grade build, on the list that we got in our package, grade
Total
building.
cost of project 500, 750, funding request 250.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
so they wanted 250, now they want 50,
Up to.
up to.
And it looks like they've narrowed the focus of the project.
So do we know if this 50,000 is going to be for bricks and mortar work, or is it gonna be for a matching grant?
Sounded like it was going to be for the demolition.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Because they haven't even identified a matching grant, a grant that they would be going
Okay.
for. That was one of the concerns that I have had, is that they're not looking for anything else.
So is there a mechanism we can put in place that if they get a grant, we can use up to $50,000 for a matching grant, matching fund for that? Can we do that?
We could, I think, but we're running out of time.
That
This is
would
not
be my concern.
Yeah.
time.
Right, we've got 10 seconds, but
Yeah.
we've got 10 seconds and let them express that and see if Tom thinks it's something he can find and help him with.
With this, and I think I know the answer, but the spirit of the 200,000 that we had originally talked about setting aside for grants are just restricted to municipal projects in your mind, Lydia?
Yes. In my mind, those funds are for municipal, grants that the municipality is going
Okay.
after. That's typically, like, this is highly unusual, the way that we've been behaving lately. Like, the municipality doesn't typically, like, hand out money to
Yeah.
nonprofits or anybody, like, so that was my impression. I think that there could be discussion.
Yeah. Well, I know going way, way, way back, that was also an idea of Charlie's, that we set aside funds for potential grant for community
Yeah,
projects.
I mean, there's times where there's like public-private partnerships that make sense, or things that we really wanna invest in because they have a broad benefit. I think there are exceptions,
So,
but it's not like we're setting aside a pot of funds, in my mind, that's just available for the whole community to come try to get from us. That wasn't what I was imagining, it's for
yeah,
things like,
well, that's why I wanted clarification.
yeah. And we could ask Tom too, if he had a vision.
Yeah, because he came up with that idea also, yeah. So I would say, Charlie, the answer is, you know, we don't have one in place right now that we could pull the funds out, pull the funds for. I don't think they're in a position to say that they're gonna do this without further money and other grant opportunities. I don't think they've done their homework on that.
Yeah, I don't know, 50,000 isn't a lot of money, but it is to the fund that we've got. And I would like to know from our grant guru for the principals of the Gray Building, he's on the board, sit down, has he sat down with Tom?
Not recently, I know in the past, but not within the last 6 months.
So I know when he was here at a meeting, we highly recommended him doing that.
So there's an uber amount of money floating around, continuing to float around as I see crossing my desk. I wish I was 40 years old. You know, I'm not going to start a new business or expand with all the ag money that's out there. It's practice. There's one thing that starts off with a grant of $100,000 for agricultural purposes. So I would like, before we act on this, for Blake and Tom to sit down and see what grants are available and what the deadlines of those grants are for applying, and get a consensus from staff that we can move forward on this.
I think Charlie, the assumption is that they would, not that they're applying for a grant to do the demolition, that they're breaking off a project that they think they can do with these funds. They're looking for other grants for the other parts of the project.
So did you get, are they just doing the asbestos lead on, is that what your takeaway was?
My takeaway is they're gonna try to take down the buildings with the 50,000, not that they're trying to use the 50,000 to match anything, or that they're just trying to bite off a chunk. I don't know whether they can realistically do that with 50,000,
I don't,
but that's what I think the ask is.
right, and that's,
Well, we can ask for further
Well, I
clarification,
mean, don't they say in,
Yeah,
meticulously demolish and remove the deteriorating structures, yeah.
so I think
which I
that's,
suppose, I mean, I know that there's a coal chute that goes from that derelict building out to the heating plant, and it's got coal in it. That's not my concern, I suppose, but you know, when you have old coal plants, you have asbestos, and I would like to see that we get rid of that, because it just makes everybody's life easier. You soak it down, you wait for a cold day that's sub-zero, and you freeze, the water soaks the asbestos, it freezes into ice, and you take it away, and that's the best way to do it. But they're not gonna get that, so, and I don't know what asbestos removal costs anymore, but I don't think it's cheap.
no, I would love to see them work with Tom, I would love to see them get other grants, I would love to help them, but I don't wanna keep dragging out the ARPA stuff,
So
so
do you want-
I would make a motion to decline the request for funding of up to $50,000 for the Great Building Coalition. If anyone would wanna second it.
I will second it, and I will also say the ire that the Gray Building Coalition has created in this town seems to me to be a slap in the face of a number of community members.
The ire that the Gray Building Coalition has created,
Yes.
I'm gonna need to be updated on that.
Well, they shut down the women's fitness center.
Oh, by changing its use.
No. They doubled the rent and made them move upstairs.
See, these are things we can't get involved in.
Right,
Well,
right.
I've been thinking about this too. This, I wasn't,
So
at the time that
there
this,
is a motion on,
Yeah.
so there's a motion, it's been seconded, further discussion as it relates to the motion.
I'm just, I don't think I have enough information to, make an accurate statement. I would hope that, and I will abstain absent of that information.
That's your opinion, that Mike, because
But-
this is pretty detailed. Further discussion, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining?
I will abstain.
4-0-1, the manager will follow up with a letter.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Manager, did we hear anything from the American Legion?
We did not. I did have made contact, and they said that it was Mr. Eric Freeman said he was working on something.
So we still possibly may receive
That was the
something.
impression I got.
Didn't we give a deadline though? Like, wasn't it?
Well, that's
that we
what
were
I
gonna-
thought.
Well, I did say, hey, time's running out, and I think this is probably one of your last opportunities.
You didn't specifically say that the decision would be made this evening. That-
Yeah, I can't.
Well, that was what was asked, was to make it clear that I had a deadline
I
of this
said
meeting.
likely could be the.
Likely, yeah,
that's not enough.
Different
You gotta
from-
say, no, it's
So
not
let's-
happening anymore.
So let's instruct the manager to write a detailed letter
Saying.
saying that if we want to give them one more opportunity, or do we not?
I mean, since it wasn't clear,
It wasn't.
then yeah, if they thought they
We're gonna
had
give them
time.
one more opportunity in writing that they have to have an updated proposal to us at our next board meeting.
Yeah, and should they be aware of the, like, getting it in the packet, so it should be the, the Thursday or
And
the
if
Friday
it's,
before.
and if it does, if it's not, the board will consider adverse action on their request. All right, now, Northfield Senior Center, provided a update to us at our last meeting, but no one was here because, Marie couldn't, so Marie is here tonight. So, can you just give us a little update where we're at with your cost estimate update?
Well, first of all, I listened to the entire video twice. So I have all of your questions to answer. And then if you have any more questions, I can give them to you. But before I do that, I would like to introduce the board to our new director, Tim McAdoo. So no, we're no longer without a director, and this guy is phenomenal, and we are so excited to have him with us.
Congratulations.
We're really excited. He's doing a wonderful job, even after 2 weeks. He's survived Labor Day weekend and everything. So, Tim, the select board.
Tim?
Tim McAdoo.
McAdoo.
We've met,
I would hope so.
something to deal with Meals on Wheels.
So, I'm gonna start out by I'd like to respond to the questions that a bunch of you had at your last meeting. I again apologize, I could not be here and no board member was able to attend, so that's why we couldn't be here. I apologize for that. I'd like to thank Charlie for his comments for me, because he could pass on at least some information. No, we're not professionals, but we have done our best, even though we've received many mixed messages from this board. Mary, we did not come back because we didn't do our work. I have 2 invoices to you to look at. The board has asked previously for budget breakdowns of the costs, and they questioned if others had to show the actual estimates or just give a budget. So I'm questioning, why are we being singled out possibly? I will explain how this process has worked since starting a year ago, September, and why we have kept coming back. In August of '23, we were approached by Tom Davis and Charlie Morse that there were great ARPA funds to be had, and we really should take that opportunity. And we were looking at making an addition. We were encouraged to apply at the first meeting, and on August 8th was our first application. At that time, there was no defined process by this board as to what they wanted from the people applying for this grant. It was very obvious, all they said was fill out the form, they said nothing else. And I agree that our first request was very large, but, you know, the dollars were there and nobody had any, like, sets, how much we could or couldn't ask for. As a result of that meeting, we were asked to come back with a better figures of the cost broken down. And at that time, a year ago, September, our burning money had not been awarded. So that's another reason why we asked for so much. So we came back in May of May 28th in 2024. And at that time, we came back with a reduced request. We knew we had our burning money that had been awarded, and we listed all the things that we wanted to accomplish, what steps had been done to include the other funding, explorations, everything we'd done. Again, there were no set guidelines of how much we should ask for or not ask for. Mistakenly, I did not stay for the final discussion, but I read in the paper, was not informed, but had to read in the paper, that the discussion for our request was tabled. And it was tabled until July 23rd, which was the deadline for applications. The senior center received a letter dated June 26 of 2024 that, and I quote, "The select board had decided not to fund our ARPA request and that we would, quote, consider modifying the ARPA application and requesting funds for specific elements of that project." I am not sure, but I'd like to kind of know what meeting that decision was made at. That,
It was in the minutes, right?
I don't know, I sadly had not done my homework on that one.
Yeah, it was in
But
the,
it was out of the blue, there was no other communication with me before that, just boom, we got the letter.
that was discussion that occurred at the board meeting, and we, because we're running out of ARPA money, that we decided that the best approach would be to see what we could fund with our draining funds.
So on July 18th, I came back again. We approached the select board like they asked with this application and letter request, itemizing the 3 top maintenance needs that we had, and we had no mention of the addition of our building at that time. The estimates that we had were gotten within a 2-week period because that was all the time I had to get those estimates. That's why we only had one estimate from each area. I have those estimates available for review, and discussion among the select board was varied on your views of money left and how much they felt should be awarded. The dialogue ended with a motion by Charlie to fund the roof only, and it was approved, and we thank you for that. The next day, the center received a letter from another roofing company that had been given the same time period, but did not get the information to us until the next day for a bid. And that, you know, might have changed our figures a lot if I'd received it even one day previously. So with that, I was like, okay, you know, what are we gonna do? Well, I was told by the board, go back again, and I said, I'm not going back alone, I'm sick and tired of this. But I read Chairman Maxwell's report in the Northfield News, and his comment in that note was that we are resuming discussion of the Northfield Senior Center's additional requests, along with other requests that were identified for submission deadline on July 23rd. Our next scheduled board meetings are September 10th and 24th. That was in your notes. The next day, I stopped to see Jeff to put my name on the agenda for September 10th, because that was the next board meeting. And I was informed by Jeff that the next board meeting was August 27th. So, again, misinformation, lack of communication, I don't know what you're calling it.
Well, I can address that, because the newspaper is not supposed to come out until September 1st, that's a September, and I think it was delivered a week early. So my notes reflect the month of September in which.
Well, isn't it good that I could go see Jeff, you know, so Jeff got me on the agenda.
Yeah.
But as I said, I was out of town, I could not be here, And so, and no other board member would be able to attend, and that's why I sent letters to select board members. I did receive a couple responses from you. And, so at that meeting, I listened, like I said, I listened to the video, and I watched the video the next day, and that's why you are hearing this now. I have had to come back to your board so many times due to lack of communication, revised revisions by your board, and a persistence of mine to see this thing through. You can put this to rest tonight, respectfully, if we would approve the $21,000 extra that we need to get the roof repairs. The difference in the roof repairs is the first person did not include anything to do with flashing, roofing, repairs, removing the shingles, and any other fixed things that need to be done, like, just included in the process. And I called them and asked them, they said, no, it doesn't include it. The second one did. That's why there's a significant difference. Does that answer your question about that?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. We need to do our roof. And as Charlie said, it's not a barn. And we want to do it right the first time. So hopefully this has answered all your questions. We're back asking, pardon me for my, we're asking for more because we're rushing to meet your deadlines. No, we aren't experts, but we tried hard to do the thing right. Yes, I have had an energy efficiency audit by Efficiency Vermont, and any rebates they may give us are included in bids from the companies like Pika Mechanical, who's looking at our HVAC and all of that. So yes, we have done all that, and we've looked at the weatherization as well. The hot water heater runs for a 4-hour period every day. It's still heating water all day long. To get it off our oil boiler and have a standalone electric propane or however, whatever kind, we can time it so we only need it when it's on, and we can save money. That's why we want that hot water heater. Our burning money is still not in hand, and it probably won't be for months, and we hope to use that other money we have raised, that and other money we've raised, to build a renovation soon. Next year, be nice, but we don't know. One point is that by doing this roof, we have a large cost that has been reduced from our original cost of the addition. As for the grant for matching funds that I asked for the HVAC, we're not going to pursue that. The point made that matching grants from the town or for the town only, if the Northfield Senior Center is not an integral part of this past, present, and future of this town, I don't know what is. We are not quasi-town. Don't feel sorry for us, just continue to support the work we do within your budgets as you have, and we appreciate that. It does make a difference in our bottom line. We are working very hard for a year without a director, and I guarantee you Tim is going to do a fantastic job, and we will continue to make a difference. I thank you for listening to me. I needed to say all I just said, and I appreciate it if you would please consider that $21,000.
Thanks, Marie.
So we've got an estimate for the senior center that it was not, for 28,000, that was not inclusive of a complete roof job. And they need another 21,000 to make that happen.
And if you want to look at the invoice, I do have it here.
I as chair can't start a motion, so.
No, I make a motion to approve the 21,000 to complete the roof job as presented.
I second.
Thank you.
Moved and seconded, further discussion.
Well, I just want to say, I'm sorry that this process has been difficult, specifically for the senior center, and that we clearly don't usually have funds like this and experience like this. And so I apologize for us not having it all sorted out in the beginning and lacking clarity.
Thank you.
I concur.
We really care about the senior center, and I think I can say that for everyone, that we all care about it a lot.
100%.
Yeah, that's all I have to say.
As I told this board before this ARPA process started, when the rubber hits the road and we have to make tough decisions, that's when it's gonna get hot in the kitchen. And we're not perfect, just like you said you're not perfect, so I apologize on behalf of the board. But I do think that we genuinely, every single person on this board cares deeply about the senior center. And we wish we could have approved your large request,
I
but
understand.
it just wasn't in the cards. We didn't have enough solid information to commit that large amount. And I think I was one that maybe came up with the idea of splitting into
And that's
smaller
okay,
projects.
if that's fine, we just
Yeah.
needed the guidance.
Yeah, so it's a learning process, and thank you for clarifying a lot of things tonight and for venting. I think that's important. I think that's very important
I,
for both.
I feel
for-
very deeply
for-
about that place, you know
For
that.
everybody. So we have a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion?
Wait, I gotta look something up. I
Okay.
just wanted to know an answer to my question. How much did we already give them? That's what I needed to know.
28,000.
28, and then this is the 21?
Right, it will be 49,000 total regarding the roof.
This is all for what we approved,
And this is for the roof?
for the roof.
And none of the other things that were asked about?
Right.
Like the,
No, we're not asking for anything else, we just would like you to finish funding the roof so that we can
none
get
of
it
the
done.
other things, like the water heater?
We
the
already
ventilation?
decided about that last meeting
Okay,
too.
so thank you very much.
You what?
We made decisions about that at the last meeting.
Okay.
Right.
All right, so, Claire,
Clear?
all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? You have an additional 21,000.
I thank you for your time, I appreciate the process, thank you.
Yeah, come back next time that we've got $1,900,000 to spend that's not from the tax dollars, you know? It'll happen every.
Oh, we're gonna find money, don't worry, we're still looking. Thank you for your
It's
time.
been assisted, you're welcome.
And welcome to Northfield.
I appreciate it.
ARPA continuation, I think those were the three front burner items we had, the American Legion, we've got a plan going forward there, we have resolution of the updated request in the gray building, and we just took action regarding the senior center. Now, let's go to our master list, Lydia.
Oh, sorry, Dave, can I just ask a quick question about ARPA still?
No, we're still in ARPA.
Oh, okay.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, the master list. Oh, I
Yeah.
thought you were talking about select board
No,
list.
no.
Sorry.
No,
Good.
no. The master ARPA list. Yes, go ahead, Lydia.
Oh, yeah, I was just gonna ask about the bleachers, if this isn't updated.
Yeah, so, did research, looked at what I thought the needs were. I found a very nice set of portable bleachers based on what I've been hearing over the last couple of years, and they'd be anywhere from 10 to 11,000. They'd seat about 50 people. Once you get above that, it's very difficult to move those.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question. How much was it gonna be just to replace the boards of the current bleachers?
The wood, we estimated was between 7 and 8,000.
And that's not movable?
No, correct. But they're very structurally sound, except for the seating area and the stepping area. And that would be an asset that we need to get addressed in the budget process, in my opinion. $7,000 to $8,000.
So you're saying in addition to getting portable ones or instead of?
Well, I think the portable is going to address a couple of major events that happen in Northfield, including Labor Day, and including events at the Memorial Park where we have concerts and stuff like that. And it gives us other flexibility. But we shouldn't discard the current bleachers, in my opinion, because the steel structure is very sound. It's just the maintenance of the wood that is shot. And that could be addressed in our budget process going forward.
So they have manufactured lumber
Yep.
now. Is that what you bid out for you had regular wood?
Pressure treated, yeah.
So for the budget cycle, figure out what it costs to get, do you know what the name of that plastic stuff is called?
Trex, Trex.
The only issue with that, Charlie, because I gave that a lot of thought also, I don't know about its strength integrity, because there's a long span between where the supports are. And when you get 10 people standing on it,
And
I
jumping up
don't
and
know
down.
what, and jumping up and down, I don't know what the strength integrity of that. If I can be proven that it would do it, that by all means, let's do it,
So ask the question,
yeah.
what's the
Strength?
bearing load, what's the bearing load of a,
Composite lumber.
Composite lumber.
composite lumber?
And the other thing I thought of is having it replaced by aluminum seats.
By what?
Aluminum seats,
Oh,
which happens all the time in bleachers. But I think that may be more apropos for a budget discussion.
Indeed, but still getting the portable bleachers, you can salvage one and you've got a portable bleacher that can go anywhere, right? This is towable by a truck, or do you have to have a flatbed trailer?
Dave brings up a good point, Labor Day, it's always been an issue. Fortunately, this year Norwich helped out, but I don't think the town should, count on that.
Well,
So-
they helped out with the stage.
Yeah.
This is totally different than that.
Well,
And everybody uses the United Church.
Yeah,
Which
but it
is
would
much
be
more-
nice to provide, they've requested bleachers in the past.
yeah,
No, I like the idea of having, but again, are these something that you put on a trailer or they got wheels on?
Well, I don't think it's something you can wheel down a street.
no.
I think it's something you have to put on a trailer that has wheels,
Right,
the ones that I've seen.
Yeah.
okay,
So-
not familiar with them.
Yeah,
At Norwich, when I was working there, I rented bleachers for major events, and they were portable, and they were delivered and installed on site, and as I recall, they were delivered in trailers and set up on wheels.
So, the next question is, will those portable bleachers fit on the trailer that we have that moves the track over from place to
That's a
place?
very good question.
yeah, because they have sections, yep, so can be transported by the town,
By existing equipment?
yes.
Yeah.
I've got a 20-foot if you need one.
What's that?
Nothing.
I don't wanna spin Dave up.
Do we
Was
wanna?
that the only thing you wanted to discuss, or?
That was, yeah, I was wondering about that one. I don't know if we wanna talk about the payment system, if there's anything, an update of any other options that don't cost $5.90 per transaction.
We're having difficulty finding that, and the 20 setup unfortunately is using the existing Munis system.
Yeah,
Um,
someday maybe the town can accept Venmo.
I don't like any of it. It all goes through big banks and they're
No, but Mary, if
Shyster and
you don't
everything.
have the cash in your bank, then sometimes it's the best option you have.
I'll tell you, Venmo works really good at farmer's market, because we were on the, we didn't wanna have, people attend the farmer's market after the banks are closed, which means the cash machine's got a $3 fee, blah, blah, blah. Venmo, you walk up to it, you flash it, and you're done. You walk away, payment's done, you can see the transaction. We didn't wanna have cash, so we have tokens. So you go over to the manager, you get a token, and then you get change back as you use the token. So talk about a burden, and Venmo is like bing, don, con.
And there is commercial Venmo.
I'm sure.
I don't know if there's a safe way to use it, but it's like, people are very comfortable.
Listen, I
Lots of people are very
own-
comfortable with it,
I
not
have some
everybody.
tenants, and they pay their rent on them.
Yeah.
And every year I get a report.
Yeah. We'll check it.
Even Charlie Morse can use Venmo, just to let you know.
Advertisement, right?
Well, it's too bad that we're not
They don't
able
think it's evil.
to take advantage of ARPA funding to fund some sort of modernization of our bill paying process in the municipality. And I think it should be a top priority for management and this board to find funding in the budget to come up with an updated system, because we're operating in the dark ages.
Well, what about, explain to me in small words, what is the difference between Venmo and PayPal in this situation?
Venmo is
I
just
have to use a
cooler.
password, I have to use a password, I know, to
So
charge
that-
anything on PayPal.
You do. So Venmo is a more convenient, easy way to make and receive payments,
How, why is it easier?
because all you do is, I don't have my phone, I'll show you my Venmo account. You open your Venmo account up, you find out what your address at Venmo is, type it in, how much money I'm paying for you, and it's sent to you pretty much within 1 to 3 business days. It's instantaneously in your Venmo account that you have access to instantaneously. But if you want to send it like to a checking account, you can transfer it.
No, I'm getting crazy. I wanna buy a baguette from Charlotte.
Yeah,
How can I pay?
you
So,
just.
we have a poster up there, you take the Venmo, you go to your Venmo app,
Yeah,
it has a camera function on it, and you go to one of those, what do you call them, QRLs?
yeah, QR code.
Right, you take a picture of it and it's done, you put in the amount and then you're done.
You put in the amount and
Right,
you're done.
you're-
It's not password protected.
It is because it's your phone,
Oh, because it's my phone, it's password.
it's your account, man.
Okay, just saying.
That,
I just
I'll help you
wondered,
through it.
No, I think
Understand
we,
that we're
I
very
think,
similar.
I think
but-
the municipality needs to upgrade.
Well, yeah, why can't we do that?
I don't
Why
know.
can't we
I
have
don't
a
know if
QR
Yeah, we
code?
could check into commercial Venmo.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that hard.
And you do not pay a transaction fee.
It's
And you
not,
don't pay a transaction fee, and I get it. The only thing that's wrong with Venmo is that these people who don't have money in their accounts might also not have a phone.
Well, yeah, and it's coming from your bank account, so.
They gotta have it in the bank.
It's
It's
not a
like,
cre-
I don't know if
Not a
it's
credit
solving
card.
all their problems.
No, it doesn't solve all the problems, but it does solve a convenience problem, and like, a lot of people are not carrying checks
I know,
anymore.
they
Checks
don't
are
carry
very
cash. I
vulnerable
know.
to.
it's more of a debit instead of a credit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it because, I like Venmo as an option because there's no transaction fee, so that the amount of money that's being circulated in the community is not being reduced every time by a bank that takes something out after every
I think
transaction.
that's why it's popular.
Yeah, I think so too. I
just don't know if it's like.
So do we want to take any action on any of the listed items this evening that are left to be approved? We're doing a pretty good job, I mean.
Well, can we authorize the rebuilding can we authorize the purchase of these bleachers?
Well, that's
Does
what
that
I'm
need
asking.
to
That's gonna be in the budget.
We get,
No.
Dave was suggesting, yeah,
So it was two things separate. I think we should purchase this bleacher for $10,500.
Do you want a motion?
But we also should put in the budget for recreation or whatever the proper area is the rebuilding of our current.
Isn't that what you said?
No.
no,
Oh, no, I misunderstood.
So, yes, if you want to make a motion, certainly.
I make a motion that we authorize the manager to purchase portable seating for use by this municipality,
Second,
For $10,500.
$10,500.
not to exceed. Will you take that?
What did I
as a
say,
final?
not to exceed 11,000?
Yeah,
Not to
not to
exceed
exceed
11.
Well,
11.
why didn't you give us 11?
Yeah, not to exceed, I heard him say
Well,
11,000.
this is right.
Okay,
And I
do you
just-
want me to say that again, Ken?
Motion authorize the amount not to exceed $11,000 for the purchase, ARPA funds for the purchase of
Pay it out of your.
For seating,
portable seats.
for the use of this municipality.
Yeah.
Thank you, the end. That's it. Anybody second that?
It already.
I second it.
Yes.
Oh, he seconded it.
Further discussion?
Call the question.
Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? 500.
Now, I want to bring up another measure related to bleachers. And that is, if we have rotting and deteriorating horizontals that people step on or sit on, we got to get rid of them. They got to be taken off so that children are not running up and down there and
Good point. And they are
it's
at
not
that-
an attractive nuisance. The end.
And they are at that point, and I would also like to see a further maintenance prevention going forward, that we move those bleachers from the current
Yes.
location, get all the weeds out, put matting down, and put gravel underneath it. It's easier to clean up afterwards, and it's not that expensive.
Yeah.
And before we do any of that, can we just confirm that they're still gonna play baseball there?
Well, fortunately, they have cleaned all the grass off the high school fields. They
Yeah.
maintain those finally. There was some discussion about that.
I still haven't heard back from our joint meetings, so.
Yeah, I just don't want us to put a ton of work in and discover that small conversation could, you know, have told us that they're not using the fields the same way, and,
Right.
but we should definitely maintain, I
What we
agree
have.
completely, yeah.
Remove the attractive nuisance
Yep.
that presents at the present time.
Agreed. Is there any other ARPA discussion at this point?
I would like to make note of the fact that the VCLT has reminded the municipalities that the deadline is coming up. It's
Well,
breathing down our necks.
We're doing a good job.
Yes, we are, but I just wanted to remind all the people who keep asking us for more stuff,
Yeah,
that we can't keep talking about this because they are reminding us from on high to get this done.
Okay.
one thing to note is that we approved a match for $150,000 for the match for the Wall Street to Water Street enhanced pedestrian amenities, and we, the town received news.
Yeah.
Thanks to Tom Davis for writing the application, that the funds from the federal Bike Ped grant came through in the amount of $544,000. So we won't need the entire $150,000
What will we
because
need?
it's a 20% match.
Yeah.
So that's
So-
100,000.
Yeah, we estimated based on the highest OPCC cost that we had, but since we received 544, we can now know the exact 20%.
Yeah.
So making a motion and we can do that.
Yeah, I don't know if I need to make a motion or.
No, because
just-
we've already approved up to 150,000.
Yeah,
Just note, we'll probably get 40,000
back
into our
back
fund.
available.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which then leads me to the next thought, which is that, have we got a contingency plan for all this extra money that we might have at the end?
That's the resolution process that we
Okay, are we
discussed.
gonna do that?
Oh, I
I
think
think we're gonna have to.
we're stupid not
And
to.
then we're gonna keep all our fingers and toes crossed that nobody in the town goes, oh, I wanna use it to reduce my taxes.
Well, yeah, it's not that simple either, that.
Well, is that a possibility?
What's
Well,
not that
yes.
simple?
Reduce the budget, you're saying.
Yeah,
Yes.
Well, that's where our leadership has to come in.
You know, unfortunately too, it's looking like it's not gonna be a massive amount of money.
It
I mean, it
shouldn't
still could be in the 200,000, but
Or more.
No, I think it's gonna be higher than that, Jeff.
Unless, I mean, can we get the contract signed on the construction
Sidewalks.
for the sidewalks?
Yeah.
The major sidewalk before? Yeah, well.
All right,
One small item, which maybe wouldn't be ARPA, but we've talked many times about the movable speed signs and I don't know if we have funds in the highway budget, but the officers placed out here, the speed signs, your speed, the flashing signs.
It's been
I'll tell
sitting
you
there
what,
since June.
It's been sitting there for months, and I have not seen it operational.
That's a recharge. Someone,
yeah.
so I can tell you, someone in the police department was in charge of that.
Yeah.
That person cannot perform that duty right now.
Yeah.
So that's a shout out to the chief to get those things.
Right, well, it's just, I think that those ones don't work very
So
well,
the chief
so
announced at a meeting that he was in the process of upgrading
purchasing new
those.
ones, okay, I was just gonna say, if we don't have funds elsewhere, maybe we could use
Yeah,
ARPA
I
funds and just
told
get
him.
some
Yes,
nicer ones that work,
But I think
that
he's
don't need to
doing
be
that in the
charged so
budget.
often, that either
Yeah,
have
I
solar
told
panels
him
or.
to look at getting new ones.
Okay,
If we have surplus, we could buy more.
well, yeah, they're just a great tool, I think that especially when they move around,
We'd
they're
like
pretty,
more.
I think it's a
And I see like
labor
a lot of towns are having them placed
issue. In
at
the early spring, early summer, they were moving quite rapidly.
Yeah.
And then,
And I know that that's not top priority right now, but I just thought that the equipment could be improved. It's not a comment on our department, it's just.
I'm
They need
so
better equipment.
angry at the speeders in the falls. I will come and move that thing myself. If you would
That
let
new
me.
pavement giving you speeders?
Yes, ask Mr. Hill.
Is it a red Jeep?
No, sir. It's
Then
all
I don't
right,
care.
so, next item on the agenda, are we all done with ARPA discussion?
Yeah.
Next item is select board community goals. I just wanted to review, where everyone thought we were on this, and so our annual goals are open meeting law training, DEI training,
If I could jump in real quick.
yeah,
DEI training, we did get some grant money, and so that's a priority. So we did it last year, we're setting that up now, so that should be in motion within the next few weeks.
all right, so that goal will be accomplished
Yeah.
within the year. We spoke about volunteers annually. I think what we just need to do is take action
Yes,
and do it. I'll reach out again with my counterpart on the school board and try to get that scheduled within the next month or so. State representatives, this might be a good time of year to invite them in. I know in the past, they really don't want to be invited until they're into session pretty good, so they know what, they can report back, but I think it would give us an opportunity to voice our concerns to them
but then we
before,
should invite the candidates.
before session starts.
Shouldn't we invite the candidates then if we're gonna do it before election?
Well, I didn't say that.
No, I'm
Yeah,
wondering if we
I would
should
do
though.
it after the election, and I would,
Yeah,
and I
After
would
the election.
send them with talking points for action items as they go.
All right, so the action for me I'll engage them after the election
yeah.
to participate in a meeting for us to come up with an action list for them.
Yep.
All right, we'll do that. Review and update municipal policies and ordinances. Obviously, we started that process tonight. There's some outstanding personnel policies that need to be resolved. Is that correct?
You are going to review the employee contract that you currently have with rank and file with the employees to see if the vacation time and the current employee policy are the same?
Yeah.
Dave, you said you were gonna look into that. I thought. Anyway, the point being is, we're ready, I think we're pretty close to being ready with the personnel policy. We've scrubbed it we've made it gender neutral. We've got a couple of things that we're gonna talk about. But the point that I brought up the last meeting was that there are two distinctive vacation periods.
Yep, I'll get that. Going through representation on CVRPC TAC.
So
That's happened, right?
Yeah, so it's working pretty well. Tom Davis is the main person, I'm the alternate. It worked out pretty well. I mean, typically, you want to have, it not be staff, but some municipalities have staff. I think it's working out well the way it is. So I think we could probably cross that one off.
Yeah, I don't know if we're crossing, these ones were supposed to be on the top.
Those
ones
are
that stay
all
on, because they're supposed to be
revolving.
like
Yeah, I
a
guess I should.
continually checking, I mean, we can check that it's being done
In
now,
progress,
but-
yeah.
Yeah,
So update employee succession plan, you said you were working on that?
Yeah.
So can we have that by the middle of October?
Sure.
Maintain electronic tickler file, it does seem to be coming to our packages on a regular
Maybe
basis.
get it every packet, yeah.
Yeah,
And marketing in town parks, pools, trails, and events, that's something we need to greatly improve on.
Yeah.
Is, we could go down through the whole list, but is there anything that board members want to identify and get an update on from the rest of the list? It's quite comprehensive.
I have one.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to change from medium-term goals, the fourth one down, complete phase 1 of River Walk, Crossweathers Dam, and I'd like to move that to short-term. And then I'd like to change, explore possibilities for a community center and move that to long-term. I'm on that committee, on that task force, and it hasn't met all summer,
So Mary, where is that one?
the first thing.
Yep, and that's gonna go to long term,
I would like to move that to long-term.
okay?
It takes some of the pressure off. I do want to ask, all my attention seems to be focused on this medium stuff, but I do want to ask, have we talked to Pierre about having a skateboard park next to the police station? I'm sitting here going, I think that's a really good idea, but, for a number of reasons, but I don't know if anybody's talked to Pierre about that. He thinks it's a good idea.
I don't know.
I apologize.
Skateboard park,
Yes.
police station.
Oh, okay, I will ask him.
Just ask him,
Yeah, I agree.
hey, Pierre, would you like to have a skateboard park? Now, the reason why I think it's a great idea is because I think it humanizes the police station to have a skateboard park there. I don't feel like we have to watch over people. I think that might be misunderstood. But I think having people there, I have always thought it was unfortunate that we built a police station in the 80s, or for the 80s, like, I don't know when, 20 years ago.
20, yeah.
And it doesn't even have a community room in it. And so it's like, let's make it a little more integrated with the town.
You don't think that the thing, we put a community room in there?
There ain't no community room in there. There's no room big enough, no.
Really?
well, it depends on, there is a meeting room,
There's a meeting room,
and it has been used occasionally.
and it's
for
been
some.
changed now to an EOC.
Right.
Right, so we had one.
Right, because I know I was involved in a board outside municipal government. We used to use that room for a meeting.
Yeah, so do we.
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah, the Northfield Country Club in the winter, that was our meeting, our room.
Oh, son of a gun, I never knew that. Okay, that's all I have.
And that changed under different tutelages of police chiefs.
I bet you it did. I have no doubt that happened. But anyway, that's why I
Is
think,
that all you had, Mary?
yeah, just be sure and ask Pierre what his opinion is on that.
John? Any
I'm fine.
updates? Okay. And Lydia?
Oh, I'm too sleepy.
Yeah, I am too, that's why.
There's lots of things.
We're probably
that-
not giving this a fair shot, but
Yeah, maybe we can bring it up again soon,
What is this?
when we have a fresh.
What I can do too is, give a, next meeting, give a written update on where these are, and some of it's in the tickler and some of it's in my notes.
Is that the one?
We got a program.
Yeah, I mean, I wanna get back to talking about like the zoning stuff that we
Every
left
so often
hanging and
we-
the painting of the covered
We
bridges.
should get ARPA behind us and then time.
Yeah, unless there's things on here that we
We do the paving.
need ARPA funds for that we haven't thought of.
Is that the one that Miller worked on?
I think what I'd like to identify as an immediate
No, we
goal,
got that out of the
watch this.
Central Vermont Chamber of Commerce.
I would like to identify as an immediate goal that our highway subcommittee, that's you,
I know, I just said.
attend training for RSMS.
I was just talking about that earlier.
I know you were. That's all.
Attend training? Who has
Yes.
training on that?
What is RSMS?
That's what I said to him.
I know you did.
Shit.
Is that annual goals, activities? Is that the top?
That's short term, yes.
Yes,
You want us to attend a training? Well, who has the training?
Jeff
Schultz. Yeah. And regional plan.
and regional planning. The last time it was done thoroughly was 2-3 years ago
3 years ago, yep. And
by what's his name? And it was the best we ever had.
Was that by Miller?
No.
it was by regional planning,
I can't
Dan
remember.
Curry.
Yeah, Dan Courier.
Yeah.
Is it, oh, I know Dan Courier.
He did.
Yeah, he's now with this.
He's with the state.
Steve,
So is this?
I'm gonna take off.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna miss this presidential
Is this
debate
Ruben?
tonight.
All right, so,
There's still time.
All right.
That's the high-
Okay, I'm sorry, was that an annual goal or is that a short-term goal, this RMS?
I think that's a short term.
yes,
Okay, good.
all right, so anywho,
Bye.
Main Street water line and replacement tank project bid, Mr. Manager.
Okay, as I noted in my report, we put out this project to bid, we received bids, we received a number of good bids, and the project is broken up into 2 separate contracts, the water line and the tank replacement. For the water line, Jay Hudson was the low bid. For the tank, it was a company called Preload. And fortunately, the combined amount of both bids was within the spending limits, the bond spending limits. Myself and the engineer did our due diligence, got the appropriate information and background on Hutchins and Preload. And so based on those 2 companies being low bid, plus having a good background and meeting all the thresholds, myself and the engineer recommending that town go with Hutchins for the water line and Preload for the tank. So at this point, if you folks are comfortable with it, would ask that I'm not sure the manager would need to do this, but I think it's such a large project, I think it's appropriate, just ask the board to authorize the manager to sign contracts to move forward with this project.
Make a motion to that effect.
Second,
Further discussion. Is there a dollar limit we're putting on this? 7.2 million?
No, it's just,
Negotiate.
just the bid amounts, yeah.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? 4-0-0. That's kind of interesting, he made the motion and he left before.
I know.
I think he was in favor, so let's
He's
make it
got-
5-0-0.
He's got Trump derangement syndrome. I had to say that.
Oh, you did, didn't you? Yes, you did, didn't you?
All right, state revolving loan fund application.
All right, thank you.
This is part 2.
Yeah, so we're asking the board to authorize the manager to submit a state revolving loan fund application for the funding, or 50% of the funding, to update the engineering plans for potential expansion of municipal sewer along Route 12 and Route 12A. As you recall, trying to make it quick, as you recall, about 15 to 20 years ago, the municipality did spend about 200 grand to bring engineered plans up to 60 or 70%. To do that project, those were shelved. Project sat there, and over the years, I have submitted to the Northern Borders trying to get funds for that. We have not been successful. So the conclusion is that those plans really need to be updated to move forward. The board has listed that as a goal to update these plans. So again, fortunately, the state has finally agreed to give us a loan, or loan forgiveness. So again, asking for the board to authorize submittal of the revolving loan fund application. The loan is for $40,000 and the state will forgive half of that, or $20,000.
Motion?
Yes,
Wait, I have, okay, yeah, I have
Yeah.
a motion first, and then I.
Just a motion to approve the state revolving loan fund application
manager to sign
and
it.
for the manager to sign it
And submit.
and submit. We need a dollar amount.
And we have a seconded.
Who's that?
John,
Okay.
the dollar amount on the application is $40,600. Discussion.
I have a question. It says, in the loan type section, it says, this loan will be used for select all that apply. And I don't understand why we didn't also check step 1 drinking water loan, because if you're gonna have drinking water, clean water and drinking water, it seemed to me like you should have both.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's municipal sewer. So that's why it's over on the other side. It's not drinking water, it's clean water.
It's just for the sewer?
Yeah.
It's just for the sewer and not for, yeah, of course, not drinking water. Okay, I didn't realize that.
No,
It's
no,
gonna
it's a good question.
protect the well field, so there's an indirect
Yeah, I get it.
drinking water.
I get it, I get it.
Now I
But-
understand, yep.
Okay,
Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to authorize the manager to sign a revolving loan application for the state of Vermont in the amount of $40,600, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, 400. Site visit and public hearing discontinuance of Park Avenue and University Drive on, near Norwich University.
Yeah, so at your last meeting, there was a presentation by folks from Norwich asking if the board considering the discontinuance of 2 town highways, Park Avenue, University Ave. The impression I got from the board, I think there was actually a motion to hold a public hearing. So this is just to announce that we put together the notice, we picked a date for your second meeting in October. So just kind of an update there.
Managers report.
So there's no objection to the date and time for the site visit and the public hearing?
So it's a 4 PM site visit and a
on October
7
the
PM
21st.
hearing.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I have an question. Are neighborhood residents invited to this?
Oh, absolutely.
They're actually abutting property holders
We'll get a note.
get a notification.
Okay, so they get notified. Okay, that's all.
And this will be posted.
Yeah, and I'll do a special notice on front porch forum.
Town managers report.
Just wanted to announce, on September 14th and 15th will be the annual Darn Tough Sock Sale. As you know, last year they shifted it to the Nantana Mill, and so it'll be there as well. There'll be satellite parking up at the schools. They have hired a security firm for traffic and flow and traffic control, and there will be a deputy sheriff. So again, on the 14th and 15th. Lydia had mentioned the municipality did receive $544,000 in grant funds for sidewalk improvements from the common along Wall Street down to the Dog River Park. Okay, I'm happy to report that the police chief has received, what is it called, initial certification to become level 3. What he needs to do next is just do a 30-hour ride along with another officer, and then he'll be certified at level 3, so he can have all legal powers of an officer in the state of Vermont, a police officer. It is interesting, they are looking at it, but they think he's the fastest individual who went through the out-of-state program to get certification. It's pretty amazing. There's a number of folks, like there's a former police chief in Montpelier that never completed that process, took another job. And most folks, it takes up to 2 years to get that certification. So, congrats to Pierre for doing it in just a little bit over a year. Again, most folks are taking up to 2 years. So that will be obviously nice to have him fully certified. Will take some of the ease off of others. So that's good news. Kind of a less, or more of a sad note, Police Chief Peter DeMasi has decided to step down after 15 years.
Fire chief.
What did I say?
Police.
I'm sorry. It is giving me, Fire Chief Peter DeMasi has decided to step down after 15 years. Pete feels that it's time to move on. I said, hey, was it anything any of us did? He said, nope, the board's been great. They've, really been generous in terms of equipment. He said, Jeff, you've been good to work with. It's just after 15 years, it's time to step down. So he'll stay on actually until July. But I guess what they've done in the past, he'll kind of start, for lack of a better term, grooming and working with a chief to take his place. We look back in the record and what's happened in the past where the current fire chief does make a recommendation to the manager, and then the manager ultimately makes that appointment. So again, thanks to Peter. Obviously, we'll do some kind of a plaque and have some kind of celebration. But a lot going on right now, but I think that's it for now.
Board members, comments, concerns, questions, Mary?
No, I have nothing.
John?
The Norwich Disc Golf Course. What is the situation with it?
Yeah, I need to circle back with those folks on that agreement. We have not paid anything yet on that. I have not seen any kind of an invoice.
That's all I got.
Lydia?
I'm good.
I have a couple of things. First off, Lydia is too modest to say this, but Lydia and Bonnie Donahue are two examples of a tremendous leadership for identifying a need in our community and working on a project from the infancy and going through how many steps and how many grants to finally come to fruition.
Yep.
Of getting our sidewalk from Wall Street to Water Street, connecting the Common to Dog River Park. So I want to commend them both, along with a lot of other people on their team. But you two had the vision and you got it done, so congratulations. Another congratulations goes out to Labor Day Observance Committee. I think there was a vast improvement on so many levels of that event this year, so they have a big shout out to also. And next Tuesday night, if I'm not mistaken, is Night on the Common.
Yeah, that's correct.
So we're gonna have a community photo as usual, so remember, Night on the Common next Tuesday evening. And that's all I had. And public participation unscheduled, is there anybody online that'd like to be recognized? Okay, anybody in the room? Okay, there's no need for executive session, I look for adjournment.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded, further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, we are adjourned, thank you.
Who wants these three,
Doesn't Jeff love those ones?
the biscuits,
Yeah, I
whatever?
think so. It really does, he already ate that one box, so.
Well, put them all together and then Elroy can take one box home. I'm the one who carries the boxes up to Elroy's house in the middle of the week.
Probably should make the changes that you request and have that form signed next time. What's the one to do in effect immediately? I don't think they do.
At the next meeting?
Yeah, I would think so. I don't think we want to do it in effect immediately. Maybe just fix the language, so they're all signed next time. Yeah, I'll just, Charlie wants something, but I don't know exactly what they want, so we'll have to